RealPage from the RealPage Analytics blog. As expected, apartment rent growth moderates slightly in July. This is a report by Jay Parsons. He's been putting out some really, really great, insightful stuff. Matt, break it down for us.
Yeah, another great report from Jay Parsons. I've been reading a lot. Every week it seems like we come across one, and whether it's this or some of his comments,
make some good
elsewhere.
LinkedIn posts.
Yeah, I was going to say I read a few good LinkedIn posts, and I feel like I'm on the same wavelength. I'd love Jay Parsons, if you want to come on the Gray Report.
And sometimes,
I'd love to have you.
Jay, open invite. And what I like it is that he sometimes, like, the data that he points to kind of goes against, like, the general narrative of, like,
yes, for sure.
Like, hey, I know this is what everyone thinks, but, like, here's the data, and it's not necessarily jiving to what everyone is assuming.
Don't call it a cool down. You can call it Let's call it a moderating. Let's call it a lot, but rent growth is normalization. But it's hard to call it a cool down when it's already so elevated. If you take out last year's incredible rent growth, and we kind of saw that chart just now, the rent growth of 2022 is stronger than any other year in the past decade. So there's a lot of reasons why this is a strong year, and why you really shouldn't call it a cool down. Rent to income rates are really another interesting thing. They support further rent growth, and the numbers for rent growth would be incredible, again, if it wasn't for the easy comparison of 2021. Year over year, asking rent was up 12.2% in July, and for new leases, the rent growth number was 17.2%. For renewals, and this is just for renewals, rent growth was at 11%. Huge, high numbers.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at the 11% numbers, but wow. And then another thing that there's kind of a twist at the end of the article. I don't know if it's.
I love an article with a twist.
That's right. He leaves us at the very last line. He says, reduced apartment demand is not especially concerning for now, given ultra low vacancy. But it could become concerning if sustained through 2023, when apartment supply levels will soar to 40-year highs. I think that this increased supply, as we've mentioned before, I think it's going to be absorbed by renters. And my expectation is that we are going to see more supply in the hot in-demand markets, not necessarily in the ones that are outside the scope of these popular markets. But again, and you said it right, is the supply problems it's a local issue. You got to check your own backyard, because it's not happening uniformly across the entire nation.
Yeah, if I was in Huntsville or Houston, I'd want to, Austin, I'd want to be checking on it. And I think that it's something. It's a concern that's should be noted. I think in some cases it is being discounted, probably appropriately, but it's definitely something, especially in certain markets, that is a major concern. It's in Indianapolis, that's not a major concern right now.
Yeah.
We had a bunch of supply come online downtown a couple of years ago. It was multiples of units that have ever been developed downtown. Downtown softened for a couple of years. Construction pipeline slowed down, but there's no other construction. The rest of Indianapolis, and people want to live other parts of the city, and we're so undersupplied, and we're just still not seeing. And we're building less than we've built over the last decade.
It is, and that is what I said. It's not a fungible good, and it's also it's not like they're building these apartments at such a great rate where this is a situation where one apartment building could change at least that submarket. So it is very interesting.
Absolutely. In some submarkets it can. Absolutely.